rhymist, activist, author, and the voice of conscience. This visionary artist has built a career by staying true to himself and following his God-given path. Today, he will share what it's like to stand in your own truth and how he got derailed along the way. Welcome, Grammy Award-winning artist, Lecrae. How you doing, brother? Welcome to the Blueprint Men's Summit. So thrilled to have you here.
The honor is all mine. Thank you for having me.
This is a special time for you as you have a new book called I Am Restored, How I Lost My Religion and Found My Faith. Tell us why you wrote the book and why now?
I wrote the book because, when you ascend all the heights, you achieve all the accolades and win all the awards, nobody tells you that, you're still going to have to deal with a lot of the historical traumas that you've gone through in life and all the problems. And so you just kind of left to figure it all out. Once you reach the top of the ladder, everyone expects you to have it all figured out. And, I got to a place where I felt like, man, I'm still struggling, and is restoration even possible for somebody in my shoes? And it is. And I want anybody and everybody who's going through chaos, relational, political, racial, spiritual chaos, to understand restoration is possible. 2020
has been tough on many of us. What has been the most difficult challenge for you during this year?
Oh man, that's probably been one of the highlights, is because you're forced to be present. You have to sit with yourself, you have to sit with your family, you have to sit with your loved ones and be present. And so you can either make the most of that time, or you can just go through the motions. And I realized that this is a unique and a beautiful opportunity if you make the most of it, if you just take that time to be present, to be intentional, instead of just kind of letting the days pass you by doing the same old thing.
Some people call you a hip-hop artist, and some people call you a Christian hip-hop artist, and some folks call you a gospel artist. How do you describe yourself?
I am, many facets of a diamond, and so it depends on what day of the week you meet me, or what context you meet me in. I think all of those things are applicable, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, don't be surprised if I don't fit the standard of what you feel like that looks like. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be authentic. I'm not going to fit the mold of your traditional gospel artist. I don't know when you think of a Christian, what you think of. So, hey, maybe that I may jolt you a little bit. And yes, I'm gonna talk about my faith in hip hop. So I'm all of it.
You have a new album called Restoration. Is this album closely related to your latest book, Restored?
Yeah, I wanted to create an ecosystem, where people can access restoration from all angles. So visually, with the video series, audibly with the book, and audibly with the album, and intangibly with the book. And so the album, is the creative expression of everything that I've experienced. And some people can connect better that way. The book is straight on, it's straightforward. And so it's not me trying to be creative about some of the traumas that I've experienced. The album is, how can I talk about sexual abuse or physical abuse in a creative way? The book is just, hey, this is what it is.
Who are some of the people who have had major influence on your career and your life?
Yeah, I had a great group of friends initially. We all kind of felt like orphans or stragglers initially, and we supported each other. My good friends BJ, AT, Tadashi, back in the day it was Dahadi and Amisho Lewis, just some great brothers who really wrapped their arms around me, and just they were only a half a step ahead of me, but they let me tag along. As I got older, I found some incredible mentors, and people like Roy Soup Campbell, a former professional baseball player who's now a mentor and a leader in the city of Memphis, and he just really invested in my life. And since then, I've just tried to assemble a group of different coaches and leaders around me all the time. I treat it like coaches. You can't just have a mentor. You need coaches around you. Everybody's good at something. A hitting coach, a speed coach. So sometimes I need a financial coach, a spiritual coach, different type of coaches around me at all times.
Bishop T.D. Jakes said he was blessed at a young age to realize he was created for a purpose. Have you discovered your purpose? And if so, can you share it with us?
Yeah, I think, my purpose is to You know, initially I think I was here to be an artist. And when I say an artist is a reflection of creator. And I'm a reflection of the creator, which makes me a creative myself. And so initially it was just to reflect. You know, that's what the moon does. The moon reflects the light of the sun. The moon doesn't have any light of its own. It just reflects the light. So obviously part of my job is to reflect that greatness, to reflect that, amazing creative power in myself. But then as I've gotten older, I've moved from being a creator to an architect, an artist to an architect, excuse me. And so I look at it from the standpoint of, you know, God is also a master architect, you know, crafting a planet for us to take advantage of and to create pathways. And so for me, I want to create pathways and projects for other artists and other people to travel through and make it a lot easier, because it's difficult. It's difficult as a young black man to navigate the waters that have been placed in front of us. And so for me, if I can make that any easier, if I can build a doorway, if I can build an underground railroad for somebody to travel through to make it easier on the next generation, then that's part of my purpose, and that's what I'm here for.
At one point this year, you talked about retiring after releasing Restoration. Is that still on your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like this. I'm no longer interested in touring and going around from city to city, state to state, doing concerts. You know, that's just not the stage and the space of life that I'm in. I still want to be influential, you know, and so you travel, you transition and learn how to wield that influence and that impact in different ways. I think a lot of times we think the only way we can be impactful is, you know, if we dribbling the ball or creating music, and we need our own versions of Steve Jobs. We need our own versions of Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. We need our own versions of these different types of individuals in the business and law and all these different sectors. And so for me, I'm interested in that aspect and developing my skill sets and my abilities in different aspects outside of entertainment.
In your first book, Unashamed, you reveal a great deal about your childhood upbringing. Was this revelation for your fans, or was this more like freeing and cleansing your soul?
Yeah, it's definitely a combination of both. I think I've gone through the healing process myself. And as I was processing it, I was taking notes, you know, part of therapy, which I'm advocate and have done and continue to do is journaling. And so a lot of my journal entries and a lot of that became the material for this book. The things that I experienced over a 4-year span of time as I was going through a healing process were the things that I was able to articulate in this book. But I want people to know that healing is possible. I want people to know that regardless of the circumstance or situation that you're in, restoration is possible. You know, I was talking to a gentleman incarcerated at San Quentin, and he inspired me, and I talk about him in the book. And he said, you know what, Lecrae, I cannot change my situation, but I can be changed by my situation. And that's the mindset and the mentality that I want people to have, is that change is possible regardless of what we're currently facing. And so if you're not thriving, then there's some healing work that needs to be done. There's some internal investigation that needs to happen with you so that you can thrive. I always say it's like a lot of us try to speedboat through life, and eventually you're gonna run out of gas, you know? So you can't just speedboat through the issues of life. It's gonna catch up with you one day.
How important is this upcoming election to our community?
Yeah, it's layered, right? So there's different layers to it, to the importance of this election. You know, on one layer, you have to remember and you have to understand that your right to vote, it matters. You know what I mean? You're embracing the right to vote that wasn't given to those before you. Second layer of that is that your vote, though it may seem like one little insignificant piece of a giant puzzle, is very crucial. Anybody who's ever seen a house get built, you don't just, you know, you build it brick by brick, right? You need every brick matters. And so your vote is a brick in that grand tapestry that we're trying to build. And then there's two other layers that I think of. The third layer is that right now we're looking dead in the face of white supremacy, of racial injustice, and we're dealing with an individual who's currently sitting in the White House, and is not making any types of movements to alleviate that or to address that. And so that's a problem. What that tells me is that your citizenship and the values that you have as a citizen are not cared for. And you have the right to say, well, I don't appreciate your vantage point or your policies on how my life is affected. And so I have the right to vote you out of that building. And the last tier is this. It's not to say that you have the best two options in the world right now. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I am trying to say is that collectively, however you want to look at it. You want to look at it ethnically. As a black man, I know black America is 40 million people. That's 40 million votes that can sway things, that can move things in the direction that we want it to make. If we understand the power of our vote, we can say, hey, this is what we want. If we're going to put you in office, here's what we need as a culture, as a people. And so that's another huge part of why your vote matters. Do it with your eyes wide open.
In retrospect, looking through the rearview mirror, how would you describe your blueprint for success?
My blueprint for success is to, be faithful in whatever I'm doing, obviously to God and to my community, to my family. Be available. Always be available. Make yourself available. Don't be too busy that you can't, have the time to do it. And be teachable. Always be a learner, a lifelong learner. Be faithful, available, and teachable. And success is yours for the taking.
Lecrae, one more thing. Because Blueprint Men support one another, we're going to buy 200 copies of your new book.
Hey!
Because you have supported us. So thank you very much. We appreciate you being here, and we look forward to reading the book and also to your new music. Appreciate you.